Hey everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to make this herb crusted rack of lamb. This came out great and I can't wait to show you guys how to make it, so let's get started with the video. Begin by preparing your lamb. This was my first time cooking lamb, so I had no idea that you could just ask the butcher to trim the lamb for you. So I just ordered a whole rack of lamb and this is me trying to trim it. For this recipe, you're going to want a French trim rack of lamb. Basically, to French trim a rack of lamb, you're going to want to remove the fat off of the lamb and then remove the meat and fat between the bones. However, the way I trimmed my lamb was kind of all over the place since I was following like 3 different videos, so I will have some resources in the description below so you can have a better idea on how to French trim a lamb. However, I strongly suggest to just have a butcher French trim your lamb because this was very time consuming. Right now, I'm removing the large amount of fat that was on the lamb and removing the rest of the meat and fat from in between the bones. After removing everything that was in between the bones, I thoroughly went to clean the bones. Next, place your lamb in a baking dish and then cover it with milk. Soaking your lamb in milk draws out some of the blood and cuts down on the gamey taste and smell that lamb usually has. Soaking your lamb in milk is totally optional. However, if you don't like the gamey taste and smell of lamb, then I totally recommend using this trick. Once your lamb is completely submerged in milk, cover your baking dish with tinfoil and then place it in the fridge for about 8 hours or overnight. While our rack of lamb is soaking in the fridge, we are going to make our mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts. Begin by peeling and cutting up 4 russet potatoes. Then place your cut up potatoes in a large pot. Add water to the pot and then add 1 teaspoon of salt and bring it to a boil. Boil your potatoes for 10 minutes. You'll know they're finished cooking when you can pierce them with a fork. Drain the water from the pot and then mash your potatoes. Cream them through a strainer to get rid of any lumps. Then add 4 tablespoons of butter. Once you've mixed in a butter, in a separate saucepan, add 1 cup of heavy cream, 2 sprigs of rosemary, and 2 cloves of crushed garlic. Mix everything together and then let it simmer over low heat for about 5 minutes or until fragrant. Then gradually add your cream into the pot through a fine mesh strainer. Once you've added all of your cream, add 2 ounces of cream cheese, 1/4 cup of sour cream, a half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Fold in all your ingredients until well combined. When you finish making your mashed potatoes, set them to the side. Now that we've finished making our mashed potatoes, we are going to make our Brussels sprouts. First, after thoroughly cleaning your Brussels sprouts, cut off the stem. Then, take off any loose or damaged leaves. After that, cut your Brussels sprout in half. Repeat this process with the rest of your Brussels sprouts. When you're finished, set your Brussels sprouts to the side. In a bowl, mix together 1 tablespoon of melted butter and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Next, place your Brussels sprouts in a bowl and then add your butter and olive oil mixture. Mix everything together until your Brussels sprouts are completely coated. Then add a half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. After you've mixed the seasonings in, add 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs and 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Mix everything together until your Brussels sprouts are completely coated. Then place your Brussels sprouts on a wire rack, face side up. Cook your Brussels sprouts in the oven at 425 degrees for 25 minutes. When you finish cooking your Brussels sprouts, set them to the side. Next, we're going to make the breadcrumb mixture that will be on our lamb. I'm using fresh breadcrumbs, but you can use store-bought. All I did to make it was process some pieces of brioche bread in a food processor. Now, in a bowl, add a half a cup of breadcrumbs, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of parsley, 1 tablespoon of rosemary, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then mix everything together until well combined. When you're finished, set your breadcrumb mixture to the side. Next, we're going to make a seasoning mixture for our lamb. In a small bowl, add half a tablespoon of seasoned salt, half a tablespoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and a half a teaspoon of cumin. Mix everything together until well combined and then set it to the side. Next, take your rack of lamb out of the fridge and pour the milk out of the pan. Then, rinse the lamb to remove the milk. When you finish rinsing off your lamb, dry it off. Next, season your lamb with the seasoning mixture you made before. Make sure to season each side of your lamb. This part's optional, but you can cut your rack of lamb in half. I cut mine in half because I wanted to do a cool presentation, but you can keep yours whole. Once you've seasoned your lamb, you can go ahead and sear it. In an iron skillet over medium to medium-high heat, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. When your pan is almost smoking, add your lamb. Sear each side of your lamb for about 1 to 2 minutes. Then add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter, 2 sprigs of thyme, 2 sprigs of rosemary, and 2 garlic cloves. Then baste your lamb in the butter. Set your lamb to the side for a few minutes. Then, brush your rack of lamb with 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard until it is completely coated. When you're finished, roll your lamb in the breadcrumb mixture until it is completely coated. Then, cover the bones in tinfoil. This prevents the bones from charring. Place your lamb back into the skillet and then roast it at 450 degrees for 12 to 18 minutes. While roasting your lamb in the oven, check the internal temperature of your lamb after 10 to 12 minutes. This way you can see if it's cooked to your liking, so you can either take it out or let it cook longer. Lamb continues to cook even after you take it out, so you want to take out your lamb 5 to 10 degrees lower than what you'd like. Once you've cooked your lamb, you can begin plating everything up. By the way, I took out my lamb when the internal temperature was 145 degrees, and then it rose to 160 degrees after I took it out of the oven, so it was about medium well done. Also, you can check the internal temperature of your lamb by using a meat thermometer. And this is the finished result! This is what the rack of lamb looks like before I cut it. And this is what it looks like after I cut it. The rack of lamb came out beautifully. It was really well seasoned and tasted delicious. I especially like the breadcrumb crust. The mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts went well with it too. I got the Brussels sprout recipe from Cooking and Grilling with AB. I'll have a link to the recipe and his channel down in the description below. I'm still happy this came out so well, especially since this was my first time making lamb. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!